Wake up Woodward. I know it's supposed to be close to like 60 degrees today, man.
Let's go.
So I'm excited about that. Gonna try and find some type of outdoor court or something today and definitely get some run in. And you guys already know, you see it right here on the screen, man. Second segment, Woodward Pistons. We gotta cover this team. I'm actually running out to practice right after the show. I'll be able to talk to Monty Williams. So if you guys have any questions that you want me to ask Monty Williams or consider to ask him, definitely put it into the live chat and definitely hit that like button to support the crew. We got KG, we got JB, we got Matt Broder, Flannel Sam, and your boy Detroit Kool-Aid. But I need you guys to help me with something here as we bring Rod back for segment number 2, and that is the drum roll. Can we get that going? Let's go. Hey, yo! Shout out and welcome to the legend Detroit News, Rod Beard. And you know what, Rod? People were wondering after the first segment, they were like, wait a second, where's his drum roll at? I'm like, wait, that's a Woodward Pistons thing. That's a Woodward Pistons thing. But, you know, we always kick it off with Rod's thoughts. I do want to talk about Cade Cunningham in this second half outlook for the Pistons. But we got to just start off with whatever is in the mind of the great Rod Beard, the Chief.
AllStar Weekend, man. Come on.
See, I'm not the only one upset.
Yep.
You always know something's wrong with AllStar Weekend when the three-point contest is better than the dunk contest. And I've written for years about how to improve AllStar Weekend. But the dunk contest, if you have Obi Toppin, I'm okay. If you give me Jacob Toppin, no. No.
Like who?
Unlike, do not want. So one of the things was if you put enough money into the dunk contest, you would get some of the premium people to do it. You got enough money to get Steph Curry and Sabrina Ionescu to do a separate three-point contest. Do that same idea with the dunk contest. And they did at least incorporate one of the ideas that I had written about is having decimal points. So don't just have, here's a 10, here's a 10, here's a 10. It's too easy, and you're going to get ties, and that was the issue that we had during the Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon years. So they at least fixed that part where you got decimal points and you get a 49.8 or 49.2, whatever it is. So that helps to break some of the ties. But you need premium talent. You can't just have these dudes, Mac McClung, Mac the Knife, whatever.
Matt McClung, Matt the Knife.
I like he has dunking ability, but his dunks don't do a lot for me because a lot of them, can we rule out jumping over people? I hate it. That is the worst type of dunk there is. We went through a number of years where people were just throwing the ball up and bouncing the ball, and we got away from that. Let's get away from jumping over people. And this, if I see one more person hold the ball like this, I'm just gonna be done. I hate that dunk. Do something else. Dominique didn't jump over people. Michael Jordan didn't jump over people. It's silly, and Shaq is not a prop to be jumped over. What are we doing?
Talk your talk.
Shaq, you're better than that. This dunk contest should be better than that. The dunk contest is turning into the Pro Bowl where it's not even real anymore. Everything is just props and okay. I'm a step back. I'm a step back. I love the 3-point contest. I love the exhibition between Steph and Ionescu. I thought that was awesome stuff. And the drama with 4 players getting to the tiebreaker in the first round. But it's like the home run derby. It's so gimmicky that how many dunks and how many attempts at dunks do you want to see? Hey, if you don't make it on your first dunk, then that's it, bro. You polish your craft and be good at your dunks in a dunk contest. We don't need to see you go 5 times for the same dunk. If we see what you're going to do and you miss it the first time, it's not exciting anymore. I don't want to see you miss the dunk and then make the dunk. All right, I'm good.
Bro, I agree 100% because you talk about this All-Star Weekend. It used to be one of those things where it was appointment viewing. You had to tap in, and you knew that the game was going to be competitive. You see kind of the greats, they were stepping out there to say, you know what, this is my opportunity to play with some players that I've never gotten the opportunity to play with and maybe never will, and the opportunity to go out there and compete against the best. And I miss that overall. Even the dunk contest, the three-point shooting contest, the skills competition, I don't know what's happened to that. You can't make the skills competition easier. You're the best basketball league in the world. That's how you position yourself. The best players in the world come here to play this game. Continue to raise the standard. Don't just lower it, man. And that, to me, has been kind of one of the biggest things behind why the All-Star game has kind of declined over the years. But, Rod, the Detroit Pistons...
The skills challenge has turned into Double Dare, where you're taking the physical challenge and stuff moving all over the place like this, and you got to bounce the ball into a thing it's too much. It just simplify the thing. The skills challenge you can take out. Because who cares? Who's going to hold up and say on their resume, I won the skills challenge in 2024? No, it's the dunk contest, the three-point contest. Keep it moving.
Yeah, and just kind of put all your efforts into making those events the best ones that you can possibly make it. Because I remember as a kid growing up watching the AllStar Weekend. I'm telling you, it was appointment viewing. You had to be clued in, man. Now it's just like, okay. You know, and that's, to me, as a basketball fan, as an avid basketball fan, it hurts because I want to see the game. I don't want to just be like, well, let's just blow this off. I want to see the All-Star Weekend. I want to see it get back to what it used to be. And I'm hoping, like, I know they said they had former greats going into the locker room and telling them why this needs to be competitive and such. Sam, I see your face over there too, but did you catch wind of that?
I did. I honestly think nothing else needs to be said except that Mac McClung has won 2 consecutive dunk contests. He's not an NBA player. He's played 4 NBA games his entire career. He's not an NBA player. But, hey.
It's so crazy. He gets that contract right before All-Star Weekend, and then all of a sudden he's here. You can go to the dunk competition.
So here you go. You fix the All-Star game by saying the losing team has to put up money. The winning team gets that money. Ooh. So you don't get money from the league. You get selected for the All-Star game, you got to put up, I don't know, 50 grand, 100 grand, $500,000, whatever the number is that they see fit. The losing team gets that, and guess what you're going to get from that? Defense. You'll start getting some defense because there's the pride factor. But now I got some bread on the line. Okay, cool. Or if the league has to put the money in the pot, the winners get all the pot, the losers get nothing. Thanks for coming. You get this. You get these Beats headphones that are in your hotel room, and that's all you get. You get nothing else.
Yo, I love that idea, man. I absolutely love that idea. It should bring back some of that pride, especially maybe like what they did with the in-season tournament and how that money was able to go to help out some of the players on the team who might be lower paid. I like that idea, man. I think that you talk about putting that type of pride on the line, you're definitely going to get some better basketball. But talking about trying to get better basketball, the second half of the season, post All-Star break for the Detroit Pistons, 8 players traded out or waived, 8 players in for the Detroit Pistons. What are they looking to do in this second half, man? What's their outlook? And this is one of the questions I'm definitely going to ask Monty Williams today when we get down to practice. But what is it that you want to see out of these Detroit Pistons? Because it's not like they're going to make a run for the play-in. It's not like they're sniffing anywhere near that. What are you trying to see out of them?
I just need a couple of players who are going to blend with that core that you're talking about, that give me any kind of anything. Can Quentin Grimes be something moving forward? Can Fontecchio be anything going forward? Because I need to clear the decks to if I feel like I have players that I'm making decisions about, like a Killian Hayes, if you were making a decision about him, you're kind of in that in between. If you move on from that, there's no discussion about it. You have what you get in the draft. You have other guys in free agency that you can say, hey, let's see what we can do here. But you don't have somebody that you're still trying to figure out what they can contribute to your team. And I think that was the key to just, you know what, we're not there. There are no in-between situations here. Either we know what we have or we don't know what we have. And there may still be some other pieces that move around after the season, but I think it was critical for them to just clear the decks here.
Yeah, I agree with that because for me personally, we've kind of covered this thing for a few years, especially since the start of this kind of Troy Weaver era and the restore. And the window that we had was this offseason for this team to move completely out of the rebuild and put this in the hands of the drafted players at the top of this draft, like Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, and then obviously there's players like Marcus Sasser and Asar Thompson. It's time for them to make a shift from where they've been to being able to be able to absolutely, like, because the over-under was 28.5 wins. We all had aspirations of this team going out there and being able to win at least 27 to 30 games this year if all went right. And all wasn't right. I'm hoping that their second half outlook, it helps to kind of accelerate this, what Troy Weaver said 7 days before free agency started this past offseason. He said it to a media scrum that included myself, Mike Curtis of the Detroit News, their beat writer. Omari Sankofa was there, James Edwards, Sean Windsor, and he told us, look, we're going to assess this team this year under Monty Williams to see how they do. I think that all the assessment that's needed to be done has been done. And I'm waiting and I'm ready for this team to now go out there and kind of dress around these young players that you have identified. Because if you can't, then this all thing was for naught, and you've absolutely failed, in my opinion, Cade Cunningham. You failed, in my opinion, Jalen Duren. You have failed, in my opinion, Jaden Ivey. And these guys who, you talk about players who, when you kind of talk behind the scenes to their camps and everything, shout out Javin Hunter, shout out Ashton the trainer. When you talk to some of these people behind the scenes, you know that these players are locked in. You know that these players, they made commitments to the city. They didn't just come here and just kind of put on buffs just to try and get some cheers and some likes on social media. These are guys who stepped into a situation that they knew has been down for some time. You saw Cade Cunningham at Tiger Stadium before the draft and how all of the fans there were chanting his name and just seeing his reaction. That's not fake. These guys want to put on for the city, right. And I do believe that what happens in the front office is going to have a lot to do with it, and that's why I'm ready for them to say, you know what, let's start to put the right players around them, whether it's a splash or whether it's good role players, good veteran role players who can come in and contribute in a mighty way. I'm ready for this to happen right away. I like, don't wait anymore.
But the key here is going to be, like, who does it that way? I mean, Oklahoma City, maybe when they had Shea, that they didn't really have the veterans around them. They just said, hey, these young guys are just going to have to grow up and figure it out. They need a vet. They need a vet who can show them the ropes. And I don't give me a rotational guy. I need an all-star. I need a big name that says, we really. I'm off the Zach LaVine train, obviously. Can you go get DeMar DeRozan? I don't even know if he's the guy that you want. You probably want a younger guy to be able to shepherd them and get them into that next stage of this, but they can't do it themselves. Cade can't do it with Jalen Duren. It's still going to take too long for that to kind of that mix to meld and to become what you want it to be. You've got to figure out some other way to do it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And you know what? Speaking about Cade, up here on the back wall, we got the Cade quote. I got to make sure I attribute James Edwards of The Athletic. He got the quote and some information about Cade Cunningham and how he's been feeling the season. I know earlier in the season, Monty Williams also kind of spoke to this as well about them having to find the best way to manage Cade coming back from the surgery that he had. It wasn't just a light surgery. It was a kind of an overhaul to that left shin for Cade Cunningham that was dealing with some fractures since high school and maybe even before that. He had gotten comfortable and learned how to play in it, and so I know a lot of people out there are saying, maybe he doesn't look right this season. He looks a little bit slower. I think anybody standing next to Jaden Ivey, playing next to him, you're going to get that kind of that look. And James Edwards with the quote, I have good days and I have some bad days. But he's confident in the long haul at being able to kind of get over this, learn how to play through this, and have a lot more better days string together than these bad days. We used to do something earlier in this pod called the CADE Zone, and it was where we would go on and we would talk about the type of player that Cade Cunningham was and who we thought that he would become. And I've started to see things pop up, and I even see it in our chats here today of people saying, would it be better potentially to trade a Cade Cunningham? I'm going to tell you guys exactly how I feel right now. No. You know what? To take a page out of my man Sam Flannel over here, I had to go and I had to get the stats. People are sitting here believing that there's some aspect of Cade Cunningham that doesn't belong in this Pistons' future. I believe he is absolutely still the straw that stirs this drink. And as long as the front office does right by Cade Cunningham, you're going to see the full star potential realized out of who Cade Cunningham was. It was something to see some of these guys getting picked for the AllStar game, but when you kind of go to the stats of it all and you see Cade Cunningham is a top 30 scorer in this NBA. When you go to it at 21 points per game, 21.9 points per game, just outside of 22 points. When you go to the assist aspects, you see that Cade Cunningham is top 10 in this NBA in assists. I don't even know who he's throwing the ball to, Rod. Let me calm back down. I don't know who he's even throwing the ball to. I know that we want to see him. And you want to talk about potential assists. I should have had that stat on file as well, because this guy is missing out on a lot of potential assists. You're talking about Kade potentially being up there in that top 3 or 4 with the potential assists if those were able to convey. And as they get better players and shooters around him, you start to see his numbers be 8 assists, 9 assists, 10 assists more regularly. And I believe that we're going to see that as this season goes along. And you're talking about his overall season numbers of 21.9, 7.5 points per game, 7.5 rebounds assists per game, 4.5 rebounds per game. This was kind of about where we wanted to see out of Kade Cunningham entering into this season. Somebody who, up to this point, he's just played just over about 2 seasons worth of basketball. He's still a young player, but he's putting up relatively all-star-like numbers on a team that has not really done a lot around him at all. I don't want to entertain at all this noise about Kade Cunningham needing to be traded. What they need to do is they need to put more around him, like you alluded to in the last segment. I do believe that Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren, it's a good start. It's definitely a good start. But you got to bring in that veteran presence that knows how to play basketball in this league, that can absolutely help these guys from a veteran standpoint. You talk about some of these sports and what the locker room guys mean. You got to bring in guys that can play, one, not just offense, but also defense, and people that can help this young team better develop, better kind of keep their emotions in check. When you kind of go through bad stretches, that are able to kind of help talk these guys out of this type of stuff. I'm hoping that the Detroit Pistons add that, but this noise about Kade Cunningham, he is a star, guys. I get it. It's a little bit difficult to be able to kind of put those monikers on players when their teams are struggling as bad as the Pistons are. But there's no way, shape, or form that Kade Cunningham should be on any of you guys' bad radars, man. I had to invoke the K's on today, bro.
4 words. 4 words. Don't read the comments. Don't read the comments. Don't even read them. So I will play this game. I will take a second and play this game. What are you hoping to get by trading Kade Cunningham? Can you get a couple of first rounders for him? And even if you did, who's coming down the pike that you feel like is going to play some of that role? Because if you're trading a young guy to get more young guys, in essence, if you're trading for draft picks, if you're trading for a vet and maybe an all-star, I don't know what you can get, but that same player, you should be able to either pull into, you can get them in cap space or something else. So Kade should be the last person that you trade. Kade should be the last person you trade.
I'm glad.
I was gonna say Duren is right there, because you can find someone similar to Kade. I don't know how many you can find similar to Duren, but Kade is the last person you should trade for other reasons.
Yeah.
But if you play that game with people on, hey, they should trade him, the very next question, what are you getting in return? Who are you trading him for? Who wants that piece and is going to give you equal value for that? Because people want to look at Bogey, people want to look at Alec Burks, and they will say, well, hey, you could have traded him last year and gotten what? More picks? If they were trying to move into a transitional space to start winning, you can't do that with more picks. So anytime somebody says this person needs to be traded, this person needs to be cut, well, what are you going to do after that? What's your next plan? Because it's a hot take to say, cut this guy, trade this guy, sign this guy, but then what? How does that fit into a plan? It's not just going out here and doing stuff wild just to be doing stuff. It has to fit into a bigger thing that you're doing.
Yeah, and I see Honolulu BS here. He said, talk about the turnovers and the injuries, please. I have no problem talking about that, because when you want to look at the top 10, top 20, top 30 in turnovers, you know what you see? A bunch of superstars on that list. That's what you're going to see because of their usage, because of the attention that they get. And Kade's not number 1 on that list. He's just not. Is he top 10 and would we like to see that turnover number come down? Yes, but that's not just on him as a player. You put better players around him on his team, the usage goes down, the attention that defenses are able to pay to Kade Cunningham, that goes way down. And then the assist numbers are going to start to go way up. You're talking about, Rod, we watched this team intently, probably more than what's good for our health, man. And we see how defenses are defending Kade Cunningham. You were going to talk about looking at defenses and zones. It almost seems like they're just running a Kade zone. Cade's on, eh? Where there's the double teams, and then there's hedges, and there's players like, we do not care about who you're throwing it to in the corners. We don't care. We just care about you, Kade. And why is that? Because they think about Kade, as does the scouting reports from other teams, as does other superstars across the league, just the same way that we're talking about Kade here as well. And I know KG, I call him our number one draft pick, man. You know, Kevin Garnett get no mention around here. It's our KG. He had some questions this morning as well about Kade he wanted to be able to ask you too. And about the Pistons in general, right?
Yep. Hey, what's up, Rye? Big respect for all the work that you do. But I wanted to ask, would you give consideration to shutting down Kade for the rest of the year? Now, clearly the Pistons have nothing to play for. And with the things that we're hearing about, you know, he's still feeling the ill effects from the shin surgery from last year and his recovery. It's been talked about online. But if you're Troy Weaver, if you're Monty Williams, will you shut Kade down for the rest of the year? I'm of the mindset that you should continue to play him so he has more chemistry with the rest of this young core. But what would you do in that situation?
It depends on the extent of it, and they'll never tell you that. But is there any danger of making it worse? If there is, then yeah, you shut him down. There's no real reason to overuse there. But it's just how much pain is he feeling? Is it going to do better with rest? And can he make it any worse by working on it?
Yeah, and you know what, man? I can't wait. Like I said, I'm going to be down there at the practice today. It's always interesting to kind of get that look at the players because you see how serious they are. And for me, it's going to be the first practice that I've been able to attend since a lot of these trades have gone down. And it's weird to even say, but it's like the Pistons have looked better since going all the way back to that trade with the Wizards. And then you talk about the trade deadline deals as well. They're playing a little bit faster, which I think will definitely help Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham, he plays more methodical, but Cade Cunningham is not a slow player. You get that pace up all around him, and you're going to see the pace continue to go up. I know one of the other things, we talk about Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham all the time, and people will always ask about their fit and whatnot. I believe that this is the kind of the perfect storm for them right now to be able to experiment the second half of the season, to be able to start to create and to forge an identity. And to be able to go out there and kind of not necessarily focus on shutting out the noise, but focus on creating your own noise. That's what I'm hoping these Detroit Pistons do. They've had this kind of all-star break to sit back, look at everything that's going on kind of this first half of the season, kind of get a little bit fresh, get a little bit healthier, and now they got these guys that they've been kind of practicing with, trying to get this chemistry on the fly. But you're talking about the guys that they've brought in. They're younger players. They're hungry players. Some of these guys have had success. Some of these players have started in this league, like Quentin Grimes and Simone Fontecchio. And I'm looking forward to this team going out there and proving that irregardless of the talent that people believe we do or don't have, we're going to give all-out hustle. That's the identity I'm hoping that they forge. That every team that they step out there against is going to have to deal with the fact that they're going to play the full brunt of this game. That's what I'm hoping, man. The full 48 out of these Detroit Pistons. That if there is a loose ball to be had, that it's theirs. If there's a rebound to be had, you're going to have to contend with all of us. If when there's a fast break to be had, we're there. When you guys are on a fast break, we're getting back to try and stop you. If there's a foul, I'm hoping these guys find a way to say, you know what, we're going to play through it. And if there's a foul that's been missed, we're going to get back on defense. We're going to try and do everything we can to get that ball back. Because aside from talent, every Detroit team that's been a winner has been steeped in defense and hustle. And could we say grind? So I'm hoping that this is what we see out of these Detroit Pistons moving forward. I do believe that they have that in them. And I know that the early part of the season, the lineups and some things, shout out to Sean Windsor of the Detroit Free Press, who he kind of wrote an opinion piece on Monty Williams' lineups, probably holding this Pistons rebuild back a little bit. But I happen to believe that in the second half of the season, you're going to see the lineups be a little bit more what people had hoped out of this Detroit Pistons team, and that it's going to bode a lot better for the chemistry that they're able to build up.
Right, and just to add on to that, I think you've got to go out and you've got to get wins. Like you go into Sacramento and get a win. You overcome a big lead in Portland and get a win. Because this past now 3+ years has just been losses. You're not doing anything to try to get the number one pick. You don't care if you get the number one and number two pick. At this point, you want to make sure that these guys figure out how to win. And then when you add in some veteran presence and some other pieces during the offseason, you can continue that. But Cade needs to win games. Duren needs to win games. They can't just continue with this and turn this into a 10-12 win season. I want you to get to 14. somewhere down the road here, and not blaring that as, hey, that's a big success, but it means you won 6 games out down the stretch here, and some of them are going to be against tougher opponents.
Yeah, it definitely. It's almost like you've been out in the cold too long. I don't want this team to get frostbite, and then you got to cut off all of the things that matter.
Right.
I'm like, you know what? Warm this thing back up. Warm this thing back up, man. I want to see this team, like, because right now the most we have to talk about in terms of their best stretch is the 10-14 stretch post All-Star break that they had in Kade's rookie season. Let's at least put that to bed. Let's prove that you guys are playing for something. Have some heart. Do not set the franchise record in the lowest amount of wins. Go out there and play like you guys, like you said, man, because that's the most crucial thing. Get some wins. I don't care what it means in the grand scheme of things. Go out there and show that you guys play with this pride in your heart. I don't know. I forget who said it in the chats, but he said, so Kool-Aid, Don Rivera, so you want the Pistons to have ... grit? Yes, I do. It's the Detroit way. It's the Detroit way. Rod, any last words?
No, man. If Michigan's situation wasn't bad enough, Olivier Kahn was out for the rest of the year, so there's that.
Oh.
They're not winning another game. 8-23. He's been their best player that can play every game, because we all know Doug McDaniel cannot. But Olivier Como has been good. He's been like one of their bright spots.
Oh, man.
8-23, here we come.
Not
You don't understand,
anymore.
Rod? Sam and
No,
Michigan
that's
basketball
it.
is peanut butter and jelly, and this is hurting him right now. This is like he's prepared the peanut butter side, he's doing the jelly side, and it just dropped on the floor. And now it's affecting him, man. It is affecting him. So it's been great to have you on, as always. Rod Beard, the legend, Detroit News Sports Editor-in-Chief, mentor to not just me, but to a lot of different people out there. I'm going to continue to say it. You're going to any of these media rooms, you're going to hear Rod Beard's name as one of those guys, man. And I'm glad to have you in our corner as well. Thank you for your contributions to Wake Up Woodward, man. The crew is happy every time we get to have you on, and we appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate you, Rod.
Thank you. And look,
All right.
guys,
Thank
you. Hey, you guys hit that like button for Mr. Rod Beard as well. And please check out the Detroit News as well. They do great work over there. Great work. I often find myself reading my brother, Mike Curtis, Detroit News beat writer. And he's a good person, too, kind of cutting the same cloth as Rod Beard. Wake Up Woodward, man. You guys, as always, are great. In this next segment, I want to kind of follow up on some things he was talking about as well as from some of the Lions talk. But we put up a post on socials, the old Cadillac building. And I don't know if you have that graphic or not, JB, so we'll put that up. Yeah, we'll put that up. And the question is this. I need you guys to put this in the live chat as well as in the comment section as well. This building used to be reserved for the king of Detroit, for the current king of Detroit. The Cadillac building. Some of us might be old enough to remember when we drove by that building, you saw Steve Eiserman up there. When you drove by that building, you saw Barry up there, and it was keeping track of his yardage stats as he got closer and closer and closer to the king, to the top of the mountain as the king. I want to know which current Detroit sports athlete you'd pick for the Cadillac building mural if they were to bring it back, and which all-time athlete would you bring as well? One of our old guards, one of our old kings as well. So one current, one king. I need you guys to definitely get that ready, and we're definitely going to go back to the phone lines when we get into this next segment as well, 313-552-6322. But first, I got a little bit of good news and bad news for you guys.